The rain-slicked highway stretched like a black vein through the heart of nowhere. And that's when the sirens screamed to life behind her. Red and blue lights fracturing the downpour into shards of accusation. Phoebe's hands tightened on the wheel of her beat-up Ford pickup. Heart slamming against her ribs like a fugitive on the lam. She'd known this cover was thin as dime store pantyhose. But damn if it wasn't unraveling right here under the glare of small-town badges. Pull over. Ma'am. Now. The bullhorn barked. And in that split second, as gravel crunched under her tires, she whispered a prayer to whatever God watched over liars and lovers. Don't let this be the end, not yet. Not like this. Phoebe killed the engine. The sudden silence thicker than the storm clouds boiling over the Iowa flatlands. She was 28. Built like a willow whip, lean muscle from years of academy runs and undercover stakeouts. Her short black hair cropped close to hide the scar from a bar fight in Quantico that no one asked about. Tonight, she looked every bit the drifter they'd pegged her for. Faded Levi's hugging her hips. A threadbare flannel shirt unbuttoned just enough to show the curve of her collarbone. Boots caked in the red clay of cornfields she'd been haunting for weeks. But beneath it all, tucked in her sock, was the slim leather wallet that could flip this nightmare into a federal shitstorm. Just play it cool, she thought, raising her hand slow as molasses. They don't know. They can't. The patrol car door slammed like a judge's gavel, and two figures emerged from the deluge, big guys in Stepford PD rain slickers, one with a mustache that screamed nom-vet, the other younger, all buzzcut and bravado. Step out slow, Mustache growled, his flashlight beam slicing through the cab like a scalpel, pinning her face in its merciless white. Phoebe complied. Boots hitting the puddle with a splash that mirrored the dread pooling in her gut. She was here chasing ghosts, rumors of badge corruption. Drugs funneled through the local precinct like moonshine in Prohibition days. But ghosts had a way of circling back. And tonight, they wore blue. License and registration, Buzzcut demanded. His hand hovering near his holster. Eyes raking her like she was contraband. Phoebe fished them out, fakes. Courtesy of the Bureau's forgery wizards, her mind racing through protocols. De-escalate. Don't blow cover. But as Mustache circled the truck, peering into the bed where tarps hid surveillance gear disguised as farm tools, a new set of headlights pierced the rain. Another cruiser, pulling up like reinforcements at Gettysburg. And then she saw her, the silhouette in the passenger seat, unmistakable even through the blur of wipers. Elena Vasquez, 25 and fierce as a summer squall, stepped out with the grace of someone who'd grown up dodging tornadoes in this wind-whipped corner of the Hawkeye state. Her chestnut hair was pulled into a tight ponytail under her cap, amber eyes sharp as agates, her uniform hugging a frame honed by high school track and late-night patrols. They'd met 3 months back at O'Malley's, the dive bar on the edge of town where locals drowned their regrets in cheap whiskey. Phoebe had been nursing a Bud Light, playing the part of the out-of-work mechanic passing through, when Elena slid onto the stool beside her. All easy smiles and that laugh like wind chimes in a gale. "You look like you could use a real drink," Elena had said, her voice carrying that faint Texas lilt from summers with her abuela. Phoebe had glanced up, caught in those eyes warm, searching, the kind that stripped away disguises without trying. "And you look like trouble," she'd shot back, the flirtation sparking like flint on steel. By last call, they'd stumbled out into the gravel lot, hands brushing, lips meeting under the sodium glow of the street lamp. It was supposed to be one night, a release from the isolation of the job, the lies that choked her throat like barbed wire. But Elena had texted the next morning, "Coffee? My shift ends at 6. And just like that, Phoebe was hooked. Deeper than any case she'd ever worked. Now, as Elena approached through the rain, her boots splashing in rhythm with Phoebe's fracturing resolve, the air crackled with something far worse than thunder. "Phoebe," Elena's voice cut through the storm, low and laced with confusion, her partner's radio squawking ignored in the background. Mustache shot her a look. "You know this one." But Elena waved him off. Her gaze locked on Phoebe like a lifeline tossed into churning waters. "What the hell are you doing out here? It's a goddamn nor'easter." Phoebe swallowed hard, the taste of bile sharp on her tongue. "Just heading to the next town over." "El job dried up." The lie slipped out smooth, but it landed like a slap. Elena's eyes narrowed, that cop instinct flaring. She'd always been the one who saw through bullshit, who called Phoebe on her half-truths about family back east, or old wounds from the city. They'd spent nights tangled in Elena's sheets, the small apartment above the hardware store smelling of sage from her abuela's recipes, and the faint metallic tang of gun oil. Whispers in the dark. Elena confessing the grind of the job, the way the department chewed up dreamers like her, fresh out of the academy with stars in her eyes. Phoebe murmuring half-truths about running from a bad breakup, her fingers tracing the constellation of freckles across Elena's shoulders. But love in Stetford was a fragile thing, built on stolen moments, coffee runs at dawn, hikes along the river where no one asked questions. Phoebe had told herself it was compartmentalized. The op first, Elena second. Investigate the whispers of dirty cops skimming protection money from meth labs. Build the case. Ghost before it got real. Except it was real. Elena's touch lingered like smoke. Her laugh a balm on the bruises of Phoebe's soul, the ones from foster homes in Philly. From coming out at 16 to a world that spat back hate. Elena got it. Didn't push. Just held her through the nightmares where shadows wore badges. "She's clean," Elena said now. Voice steady but her hand trembling as she uncuffed Phoebe. The metal clicking open like a broken promise. Mustache grumbled but backed off, radioing in the all clear. As the rain hammered down, Elena pulled Phoebe aside, under the meager shelter of the cruiser's doorframe. "You scared the shit out of me." "Thought you were." She trailed off, eyes searching Phoebe's face. "Never mind. Come back to my place. Dry off. We need to talk." Phoebe's chest ached, a riptide of want and warning. "Walk away. End it clean." But her feet moved of their own accord, following Elena into the warmth of the cruiser, the scent of wet leather and Elena's vanilla shampoo wrapping around her like a noose. The drive back to Elena's was a blur of wipers slapping rhythm, and the low hum of the heater blasting away the chill. Phoebe stared out at the endless cornstalks bowing in the wind, their golden husks stripped bare like her defenses. Elena gripped the wheel tight, knuckles white, stealing glances that burned. "You gonna tell me what's really going on? Or do I have to guess?" she finally asked, voice pitched low to keep the mic from picking it up. Her partner, Ramirez, was in the lead car, oblivious, humming some country tune on the scanner. Phoebe forced a chuckle, the sound hollow as a spent shell. "What? You think I'm smuggling moon pies or something? Told you. Well, work slow." Figured I'd chase leads in Dubuque, lies layered like cheap makeup, cracking under scrutiny. Elena's jaw tightened, that telltale muscle twitching, the same one that flexed when she'd cuff a drunk at O'Malley's, all controlled fury masking the empathy underneath. They pulled into the gravel drive of Elena's place just past midnight, the squat duplex glowing like a beacon in the storm. Ramirez peeled off with a wave. "Stay safe, Vasquez," leaving them alone with the downpour. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of cooling arroz con pollo from dinner, Abuela's recipe simmering on the stove like a hug from across state lines. Elena shrugged off her slicker, hanging it by the door, her uniform shirt clinging translucent to the tank beneath, outlining the swell of her breasts. Phoebe's mouth went dry, memory flooding. The first time Elena had unbuttoned that shirt, slow and deliberate, in the lamplight of this very kitchen. "Shower first," Elena ordered. "Softer now," tossing Phoebe a towel. "You look like a drowned rat," but her eyes said more hurt. Hunger. The unspoken "why won't you let me in?" Phoebe stripped in the tiny bathroom, steam fogging the mirror as hot water cascaded over her skin, washing away the road grime but not the guilt. She traced the FBI ink on her ribs, a soaring eagle, wings clipped by secrets, and wondered how long until it all came crashing down. Wrapped in Elena's robe, too big and smelling of her, Phoebe emerged to find Elena on the couch, 2 mugs of spiked cocoa steaming on the coffee table. The TV flickered with some old western, cowboys trading lead like it solved everything. Elena patted the cushion beside her, and Phoebe sank down, their thighs brushing electric. "Talk to me," Elena murmured, handing over the mug, her fingers lingering on Phoebe's. "Last week, you ghost for 2 days. Now this, cops pulling you over like you're Bonnie goddamn Parker." Phoebe sipped, the burn of Kahlua grounding her. Flashback to that week, holed up in a motel off Eddy, poring over wiretaps that painted Stepford PD in shades of gray. Chief Harlan, mustache from the stop, shaking down low-level dealers for a cut of the product. Whispers of internal affairs. But the trail led higher, deputies like Ramirez turning blind eyes for envelope-stuffed fat. And Elena? Clean as a whistle. Or so the files said. But files lied. Didn't they? Phoebe had stared at her photo for hours. That academy grin. Wondering if love was just another blind eye. "I'm running," Phoebe admitted, the half-truth slipping out like contraband. "From stuff back east. Ex who wouldn't let go. Debts piling up. Thought a fresh start out here." Elena's hand found hers, thumb stroking the back of her palm in slow circles that unraveled Phoebe thread by thread. "You don't have to run alone. You know." Elena's voice cracked, amber eyes glistening. "I see you, Phoebe. The walls you build, higher than the levees after '93 flood. But when you're with me, it's like you let the river through." She leaned in, lips brushing Phoebe's temple. Then mouth soft at first. Question. Then deepening into a claim. Phoebe melted into it, hands fisting Elena's shirt, pulling her closer until they tumbled back against the cushions. Clothes shed in a frenzy, robe pooling like surrender. Elena's uniform pants kicked aside with a clatter of belt buckle. Skin on skin. Elena's mouth mapping the valleys of Phoebe's body, collarbone, the dip of her navel. Lower still. Drawing gasps that echoed off the popcorn ceiling. "Stay," Elena whispered against her thigh, voice muffled and fervent. "Just tonight. Let me love you proper." Phoebe arched, fingers tangling in chestnut curls, the world narrowing to heat and heartbeat, and the storm raging outside mirroring the one inside. After, tangled in sheets that smelled of them, Elena traced lazy patterns on Phoebe's back. "You ever think about forever?" she asked. voice sleepy but serious. Phoebe's throat tightened. Forever's for civilians, not feds chasing shadows. Every damn day, she lied, kissing Elena's shoulder to seal it. But as Elena drifted off, soft snores syncing with the rain's patter, Phoebe slipped from bed, padding to the kitchen for her burner phone. A text to her handler, close. Harlan's meeting tomorrow. Need eyes on Vasquez. Just in case. Because love was a luxury. And trust? That was the first casualty. Dawn broke gray and grudging. The kind of Midwest morning that clung like damp regret. Phoebe brewed coffee strong as tar. Black for her. With cream for Elena, who emerged yawning. Hair a wild halo. Pulling on her uniform like armor. Shift starts soon, she said, pecking Phoebe's cheek. You sticking around? I get off at 4, dinner at the diner? My treat. Phoebe nodded, forcing a smile. Wouldn't miss it. But as Elena's cruiser faded down the drive, Phoebe's phone buzzed, confirmed. Harlan's dirty. Vasquez clear. Proceed. Relief ward with something sharper, guilt. Maybe. Or the ache of knowing she'd tainted the one clean thing in this mess. She dressed quick, grabbing her go-bag from the truck, encrypted laptop, fake IDs, the Glock tucked in her waistband like a guilty secret. By noon, she was parked in a fallow field 2 miles from the precinct, binoculars trained on the back lot. Harlan's Tahoe rolled in, mud splattered from backroad deals. Phoebe snapped photos. The shutters click a metronome to her mounting dread. This op was textbook. Infiltrate. Document. Extract. But Elena had rewritten the script, turning Phoebe's heart into collateral. That afternoon at the diner, greasy spoon heaven with Formica counters and pie that could resurrect the dead, Elena slid into the booth opposite her. All off-duty glow in jeans and a Stepford high hoodie. Missed you already, she said, stealing a fry from Phoebe's plate, her foot hooking Phoebe's under the table. They talked easy, Elena's shift stories, a lost kid reunited with his ma, the quiet heroism that kept her in blue. Phoebe's fabrications, a garage gig in Des Moines, dreams of opening her own shop someday. But beneath it, tension simmered. Elena's eyes probing like she could x-ray the lies. You ever gonna tell me your last name? Elena teased. But there was an edge. A plea. Phoebe's fork paused midair. Rivers. Phoebe Rivers. Close enough her cover. At least. Elena's smile faltered. Just a flicker. But Phoebe caught it. Like the river. Fitting. You flow right through a girl. Laughter bubbled up. Genuine. And for a stolen hour, the world was just them. Hands brushing over ketchup bottles. Knees knocking. The promise of another night in Elena's bed. But as they parted in the parking lot, Elena's kiss fierce. Lingering, Phoebe spotted the tail. Ramirez's unmarked sedan. Idling across the street. Shit. Harlan's paranoia spreading like kudzu. That night, alone in her motel room with its peeling wallpaper and the hum of fluorescent regret, Phoebe pored over the evidence. Transcripts of wiretaps. Grainy photos of payoffs. Harlan's voice. Gravelly. Vasquez is green. But watch her. Too damn straight arrow. Phoebe's blood ran cold. Elena. In the crosshairs. She fired off an urgent ping to HQ. Escalate. Potential threat to asset. Asset. That's what Elena was now, reduced to a line item. Her laughter archived in Phoebe's mind like contraband. 2 days later. The net tightened. Phoebe shadowed a low-level drop, Harlan's crew fencing pills in an abandoned silo off County Road 9. Disguised in overalls and a trucker hat, she blended with the farmhands, earpiece-feeding chatter from her wire. "Buyers here," her handler murmured. Phoebe edged closer. Phone camera rolling. When tires crunched gravel, Stetford PD. Lights off but unmistakable. Panic surged. Abort. But she held. Snapping the exchange, envelope to Harlan's deputy. Baggies back. Then, chaos shouts. Scuffle. The deputy bolting. Phoebe melted into the shadows. Heart pounding. But not before glimpsing Elena's cruiser screeching up. Back up to the bust. What the hell? Elena. Out of the car. Radio crackling. Her face pale under the floodlights. Had she been looped in? Or was this the betrayal Phoebe had feared? Elena's loyalty to the badge trumping them? Phoebe drove blind through the night. Rain lashing the windshield like accusations. By the time she hit Elena's street, the duplex was dark. Elena's cruiser gone. A note under the door. Scrawled in her looping script, "We need to talk. Now." Phoebe's hand shook as she let herself in key Elena had given her last week. "Quiet, I trust you." The apartment felt hollow. Abuela's cross on the wall casting long shadows. She waited. Glock on the coffee table like a loaded question. Headlights swept the drive at 3 a.m. Elena bursting in. Uniform rumpled. Eyes wild. "Phoebe? Thank God." She crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling Phoebe into a crush of arms and desperation. "The silo, Harlan's going down. IA's involved. But you. Jesus. Were you there?" Phoebe stiffened, the truth clawing up her throat. Listen. No. Elena pulled back. Hands framing Phoebe's face. Thumbs brushing tears Phoebe hadn't realized were falling. "I saw you. In the shadows." And it clicked, the ghosting. The stories that don't add up. "You're not running from an ex. Are you? You're hunting." Her voice broke. Amber eyes shattering like stained glass. "Who the fuck are you?" The room spun. Phoebe's world cracking open. "FBI," she whispered. The word a guillotine. "Undercover. Harlan's corrupt payoffs. Drugs." "I've been building the case." Elena recoiled as if slapped, staggering back against the wall. "And me? Was I part of it? A mark? Got Phoebe, or whatever your name is. Did you use me?" "No." Phoebe surged forward, grabbing Elena's wrist, the pulse there frantic under her fingers. "It started as cover. Yeah. But you were real. The only real thing in this hell." Tears streamed hot, mixing with the salt of their sweat from nights past. Elena searched her face, the betrayal etching lines that aged her a decade in seconds. "You lied. Every kiss, every I love you, lies." Elena's voice was a whip, but her body leaned in, conflicted, craving. Phoebe crushed her against the wall, lips crashing in a kiss born of despair, teeth and tongue and the copper tang of bitten lips. "I love you," Phoebe gasped, the truth spilling like blood. "That's not a lie." "Never was." They sank to the floor. A tangle of limbs and sobs. Elena's uniform scratching against Phoebe's skin like penance. "I reported Harlan tonight," Elena murmured into her neck, fingers digging bruises into Phoebe's hips. "Anonymously. For us, for whatever this is." But doubt lingered. A shadow in Elena's eyes. The first fracture in their fragile bridge. Dawn crept in like a thief, painting the apartment in bruised purples and golds. Phoebe and Elena lay spent on the rug, sheets twisted around them like failed restraints, the air heavy with the musk of reconciliation and ruin. Elena's head pillowed on Phoebe's chest, listening to the thud of her heart, a rhythm she'd memorized in quieter times. "What now?" Elena whispered, tracing the eagle tattoo with a fingertip, the ink stark against Phoebe's skin. "You vanish? Leave me to clean up the mess." Phoebe's arm tightened around her, the weight of the op crashing down like the '93 flood Elena always joked about. HQ had been blowing up her burner. Extract imminent. Harlan spooked, "Bus tomorrow." But tomorrow meant goodbye. And goodbye to Elena was a gutting sharper than any blade. "I fight it," Phoebe said, voice rough from crying. "Request an extension." "Keep you safe." Elena lifted her head, amber eyes fierce. "Safe? Like your little asset." The word stung, laced with venom. But she softened, pressing a kiss to Phoebe's sternum. "I'm a cop. Remember, I can handle Harlan's fallout. But you gotta choose. The bureau or this." She gestured between them, the air still humming with their shared heat. Phoebe's laugh was bitter, echoing off the walls. "Like it's that easy. You think feds get happy endings? We get commendations and ulcers." But even as she said it, visions flickered. A life beyond the badge, maybe a garage in some nowhere town. Elena's laughter over morning coffee, hands intertwined under the table at the diner. Fool's gold. But it glittered all the same. Elena rolled atop her, straddling Phoebe's hips. Uniform shirt half unbuttoned to reveal the lace bra Phoebe had bought her on a whim in Des Moines. "Then fight dirty," she murmured, leaning down to nip at Phoebe's earlobe, breath hot and teasing. "For once, break the rules." Her hands roamed, reigniting embers, fingers slipping between thighs slick with need. Phoebe arched, a moan escaping. God, this woman undid her like a cheap lock. They moved together, slow and deliberate now. Less frenzy, more worship. Elena's mouth on her breasts, Phoebe's nails raking down her back, gas sinking like a shared pulse. Climax crested gentle, waves rather than storm, leaving them boneless and breathing hard. "I love you," Elena said again, feared, as if repetition could forge it ironclad. Phoebe echoed it, meaning every syllable, even as dread coiled in her belly. Love in the field was a grenade with the pin half pulled, beautiful until it blew. By midday, the plan coalesced over takeout tamales Elena had warmed, grease spotting the case files Phoebe finally spread on the table. "Harlan's meeting his supplier at the old mill tonight," Phoebe explained, pointing to satellite maps. "Feds move in at 2200. Testify. He goes down for 20 plus. Elena nodded, her cop brain clicking gears, but worry etched her brow. "And if he suspects me?" The anonymous tip. Elena chewed her lip, a habit that drove Phoebe wild. "Ramirez has been side-eyeing me all week. Harlan's inner circle, they're family men, but rotten to the core." Phoebe reached across, squeezing her hand. "That's why you're out. Go to your sisters in Cedar Rapids. Lay low till it's done." Elena's eyes flashed rebellion. "Like hell. I'm in this too, my department. My town." The argument flared quick, Phoebe's protectiveness clashing with Elena's pride, ending in a standoff of glares and gritted teeth. "Fine. Phoebe relented, hating herself. But wired. Backup. No heroics. Elena's grin was triumphant, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of spice and promise. As she geared up, bulletproof vest under her off-duty jacket, earpiece hidden in her curls, Phoebe felt the noose tighten. This wasn't protocol, it was personal. And personal got people killed. Twilight bled into night. The mill looming on the river's edge like a skeletal giant, its rusted silos groaning in the wind. Phoebe crouched in the underbrush, ghillie suit blending her with the weeds, sniper scope trained on the access road. Her team was positioned, sweat in vans a click out, handler coordinating from a black Suburban. Vasquez in position, crackled her earpiece, Elena's voice, steady but laced with adrenaline. She'd insisted on eyes from the tree lean, feeding intel on Harlan's approach. Headlights pierced the gloom, Harlan's Tahoe, followed by two pickups loaded with muscle. Phoebe's crosshairs danced over the chief's door as he emerged, burly frame silhouetted, barking orders. The supplier's crew rolled up minutes later, twitchy types with tats snaking up their necks, duffels heavy with product. Handshakes turned to haggling, voices low but picked up by the parabolic mic. 80 keys. Harlan. Cash up front. Or no deal. Phoebe's finger hovered on the trigger. Non-lethal round. Takedown protocol. But her heart stuttered when Elena's whisper hit. Phoebe. Ramirez is here. Unmarked. Pulling in from the east. He's not with the team. Shit. Betrayal's ugly head, rearing in the flesh. Ramirez. Elena's partner. Harlan's right hand, dirty after all. Phoebe keyed her mic. All units. Hold. Potential compromise. Passes. Pull back now. But Elena was already moving, shadow darting toward the mill's flank for a better vantage. Negative. Can get plates. Confirm. Stubborn. Beautiful fool. Phoebe's scope swung, spotting Ramirez slinking from his sedan, hand on his piece, nodding to Harlan like a prodigal son. The deal teetered, cash exchanged, product inspected, when Ramirez's gaze snapped toward the tree lean. A glint, Elena's vest catching moonlight? Or bad luck? Freeze. PD. Ramirez bellowed, gun whipping up. But it was Harlan who fired first. Wild shot splintering bark near Elena's position. Chaos erupted. Supplier's crew scattering like roaches. Feds breaching with flashbangs and shouts. Phoebe broke cover, sprinting through the fray, her world tunneling to Elena down, scrambling behind a crate. Ramirez advancing like a wolf. Elena! Phoebe's cry cut the din. Drawing fire. A bullet whined past her ear, hot and hungry, as she dove beside her lover, hauling her up. You idiot, told you to pull back. Elena's face was smudged with dirt, a gash on her forehead weeping red. But her eyes blazed. Got the plates. And Ramirez, he's singing like a canary to Harlan. About me. Betrayal doubled down. Not just Ramirez, but whispers of Elena's tip leaking through the ranks. Harlan's roar echoed. Traitor bitch. As sweat swarmed, cuffing the supplier's goons. Phoebe dragged Elena toward extraction, their hands locked, breaths ragged. Ramirez spun, spotting them, his piece leveling. Vasquez, you sold us out. Time fractured. Elena shoved Phoebe aside. Run! As Ramirez fired. The crack deafening. Pain bloomed in Elena's shoulder, blood blooming dark on her jacket. She crumpled, Phoebe catching her. Screaming into the mic. Officer down. Vasquez hit. Medics poured in. Ramirez tackled by feds. Harlan zip-tied in snarling curses. In the ambulance's wail. Elena gripped Phoebe's hand. Pale but unbroken. Worth it, she rasped. Smiling through the morphine haze. For you. For clean streets. Phoebe's tears fell hot. Kissing her knuckles. Shut up and heal. We're not done. The hospital in Iowa City was a sterile purgatory. Beeps and bleach masking the undercurrent of victory. Harlan and Ramirez in federal holding. The bust yielding enough evidence for a dozen indictments. Stetford PD's rotten core excised like a tumor. Phoebe paced the waiting room. Badge flashing to Stonewall reporters sniffing for scandal. Her handler clapped her shoulder. Gold star. Rivers. Extension denied, wheels up tomorrow. But tomorrow was a lie. Elena emerged from surgery by dawn. Sling-bound and groggy. Her sister fussing at bedside. Phoebe, she called. Voice threading the curtain. Phoebe slipped in. Locking the door. Climbing onto the bed careful as glass. Hey. Hero. Elena's good hand cupped her cheek. Stay. Simple. Seismic. Phoebe's resolve crumbled. The eagle on her ribs feeling less like flight. More like anchor. Bureau won't like it. Paperwork. Psyche vals the works. Screw 'em. Elena's laugh was weak but wicked. We fight dirty. Remember, transfer requests already in. IA wants me for consulting. You? Desk job in Des Moines. Close enough for weekends. Her thumb brushed Phoebe's lip. Build something real. No more shadows. Phoebe searched those amber depths. Seeing futures. Lazy Sundays with abuela's tamales. Hikes where hands swung free. A ring someday exchanged under Midwest stars. Humanistic. Messy. Profoundly American, the grind of second chances. Love clawing through the cracks of corruption. Yeah, she breathed. Sealing it with a kiss soft as absolution. No more running. Outside. The sun rose unyielding over the plains. A new day breaking clean.